Good afternoon. Pete from A Bit Twisted here. So I'm over at the studio. I have an Ashford Elizabeth. This is not brand new, but it's pretty much fairly unused. It's a complete spinning wheel. Ashford spinning wheels are known for their simplicity, quality. They're not super high-end spinning wheels, but they do a great job. They're easily adjustable. You can buy parts for them still. Company's still in business. As you can see in the background, I have a traditional over there. And after spending some time with this at the house, I do like my traditional a little bit better, but this one here is a really nice wheel. It looks nice, it treadles nice, it spins nice, and I just don't need a whole bunch of wheels. So this wheel is for sale. So we're going to show you the wheel and show you the wheel working, and hopefully we can find a good home for this wheel. I'm partial to double drive. I have this one. This one is a convertible, so this one can do double drive or Scotch tension. Right now I have it in Scotch tension. So Scotch tension means that I've got a little wire that wraps around the bobbin, which puts tension on the bobbin as the wheel and flyer spin. And the nice thing about these wheels is these are metal to plastic. Plastic is almost almost doesn't need lubrication, but you should still use a little bit. So I lubricate here, and also down on the shaft of the bobbin, and on the axles, and the back here of the footman arm. And other than that, I haven't. It might be good to do some down at the base where the treadle attaches. So this is a single treadle machine. And it works in both double drive and Scotch tension. Right now it's easier to set up, quicker setup and stuff, I think, in Scotch tension versus double drive. But once it's set up, you're good to go. So whichever you prefer, you can use for this particular wheel. And I put a brand new linen band on here yesterday, and should hold up quite well for quite some time. Cotton thread is usually, heavy cotton is usually what's been used for these kind of things, for the drive bands. But anyway, let's get spinning, see what we can do. So I'm going to spin some linen toe roving is what I'm going to spin. And I'm going to spin it in the direction that is on the bobbin at the moment. And what's on the bobbin at the moment is not linen, it is wool. So let me set this up here. Get set up. So I'm just going to manually stuff it through the orifice or you can use a hook, which this one has. This one has a nice built-in hook, and it works. So it looks like I was spinning this the same direction as the linen, so we'll go with that. So some linen roving, or linen rolag, and it's short linen tow. It's high quality stuff. So it'll take it in readily in. So I'm used to spinning with a woolly winder and I don't have to change the hooks. But unfortunately this is a hook flyer, so which is what most everybody uses. So you have to stop. You have to stop. Change your hook. Starts another area where you're spinning and winding on. The wheel is for sale for $275 or best offer. So it's actually quite a deal already at that price. So I would hope there's not going to be much squabble over price. Brand new, they're like $500 or more, and then you have to pay shipping all the way from Australia. Or the prices have been increased already because they got shipped to America to a dealer, and then the dealer marks it up from there. Some of these wheels can go up to $700. So a couple $100, a little over a couple $100 is a great start. These are good beginner wheels. These are good non-beginner wheels. I like them. I like my traditional, and actually have two traditionals and this one. So one thing I would recommend after spinning for nearly 5 years on these things is on the hooks, especially on the Ashford flyers. So they have hooks on opposing sides, depending which direction. It doesn't matter. You can hook it up either side. It's going to spin. So what I would recommend is getting a small drill bit, a really tiny drill bit, and drill in between each of these and put another cup hook. And the reason being as you can see here, so there's a lot of width between the two hooks. So these things wind onto the bottom in what I call blobs, in bunches rather than nice and smooth. And if you have more hooks, you get a much smoother filled bobbin. And you should change these hooks often, otherwise you're just going to build up, and once it gets to a certain point, building up, then it starts getting loose and falling away, and then it's all kind of tangly. You don't want that, so you definitely want to change your hooks often. Tension. You want just enough tension so when you let go and give the wheel permission to take the thread, see, I can stretch it all the way out here and it's doing nothing, but if I let loose, then it just takes it up. Notice how I can pull back on it, and I can do that while I spin. And you want tension that you can pull back on it if you need to. That way you know that the wheel isn't going to yank it out of your hand. So that's another good trick, another good tip. And that's the same for both Scotch tension and double drive. You want to be able to pull back while you spin, but you want enough tension so it'll take it in as soon as you give it. If you let loose and it doesn't take it in, you don't have enough tension. On the tensioner, on a Scotch tension, you just have standard tension for driving, and that's just normal tension. You don't have to mess with that, except you want to make sure it's spinning and not slipping. So it'll just spin. It doesn't have to be super like Superman tight, you know. You can see that's kind of loose here, but it's enough to spin this without just spinning. And then the tensioner is where that control is, where you pull back. More spring pressure I put on that, the less I can pull back. So you just back it off until I can do that, and now I'm set. Even my main drive wheel tension is, see, that's still too tight. So I've got enough, I can put enough tension on my tensioner to cause my main drive to spin too. So I want to have it. Tensioning is just barely. They're just enough. See, now that one started up just fine. So literally almost need no tension, just enough. You can see I already put a little bit too much on here, and I need to swap the hook. So one more time, I'll swap the hook, and then I'll move it over, and you'll see by the change of color, because I'm using my linen, So there you go. It has a new leather piece on the footman. These wheels originally have plastic, but you can use leather instead. And if you use leather, I think it'll be better. It's better for the environment too. I'd like to see these holders here made out of heavy leather. And I think I might do that on one of my wheels just to see how it works and get rid of the plastic. Just use leather. So anyway, just drafting it out. You can see how thin I'm spinning this stuff. Because a lot of times things are spun not for knitting, but for weaving. In weaving, you'd want thin thread for your cloth. So I think that's going to be suitable. Everything's adjustable. You can tighten things. These things can come apart too, if you need to, for storage. So this bobbin, this dark one, doesn't go with this wheel, but I do have the bobbins for this wheel. And I make sure we have them. They're over at the house. So there you have it, an Ashford Elizabeth in excellent condition, spins well, and I think you would be very happy if you're in the market for one. And we will talk to you later. Actually, one last thing. So, in the market for wheels. A lot of the wheels that are out on the market are really old antique wheels. Old antique wheels, if you don't know what you're doing, you may not get a wheel that works. You may not get a wheel that you can fix for yourself. So finding a wheel for a good price, that's not an old antique, but it's off of a similar design, is the best way to go. And Ashford suits that really well. Some of the other spinning wheels are considerably more expensive, some of the other brands, but they do exactly the same thing. Nothing different. So if you are on a budget, the Ashford is the way to go. The old antiques are not. I've used the old antiques. They can work, they do work, but they are old, they're fragile and brittle. So keep that in mind when you're out shopping for a spinning wheel. And we will talk to you later, and thank you for watching.